Welcome to Spiritual Psychology. My name is Renee Lavallee Mckenna. I'm a therapist and shamanic healer. Today I want to talk about accessing power through nature, particularly working with elements. A lot of us think of elements just as the periodic table of elements like carbon and oxygen and magnesium. But I want to talk about elements in a more traditional way. And there's lots of different systems that use elements. There's 5-element acupuncture. A lot of Native American traditions talk about elements. I think this idea makes more sense to people who live closer to nature or more in contact with it, because there's a natural relationship with the elements that just develops without even thinking about it. Unfortunately, in contemporary life, we can spend weeks or even years without our feet ever touching the bare earth. We move from house to sidewalk, into cars or buses, onto more concrete, into another building, and back again. My experience is that the easiest way to access the realm of spirit for most people is through nature. This tragedy of modern life is that we're living in near total disconnect from wild places and the beauty and the power that they offer. Historically, we were provided with continual opportunities to engage with higher power through nature. Daily life included regular connection with the natural world through farming, hunting, gathering, and walking or traveling with animals. In spiritual psychology and many Eastern traditions, consciousness exists in all things, not just in people, but in places, in elements, in animals, and even things we would consider non-living, like rocks or air. The whole world is actually a complex configuration of consciousness, in my understanding, and we're all an intrinsic part of this creation. We're all children of the universe. Unfortunately, most of us feel disconnected from this great reality. We are like waves in the ocean, as the Buddhists like to say. We are like waves in the ocean that don't realize that we're actually part of the water itself. And my experience is that this disconnect that we feel existentially as humans is the root of almost all of our suffering and dysfunction. In fact, one could understand the story of Adam and Eve being expelled from the Garden of Eden in Genesis as an attempt to explain our experience of disconnection from the divine. In my experience, the divine is not some dude on a cloud that looks like Charlton Heston passing judgment on us. The divine is actually the life force that courses through our veins and runs through all of creation around us. So when we can become consciously aware of this life force and access higher consciousness, it connects us with aspects of ultimate reality, and it recognizes, or we get to recognize individually, experience the oneness of all creation. That dissolves fear. It also connects us with the spiritual principle that the highest good of one is the highest good for everyone involved, because we can experience our interconnectedness, as Thich Nhat Hanh likes to say, the interbeing of all things. So most people have had some experience with communing with the beauty and wildness of nature. Even if you have not had this experience directly, it lives in our cellular ancestral experience. We each have elements we relate to. Some people like the ocean, others like the forest, the desert, or meadow. I happen to love the moon. Many of my friends need sunshine to feel balanced. Wind, rock, water, and fire are all powerful elements that are essential parts of our being. Fire can be understood as our life force, air or wind as our breath. Our bodies are 70% water, and the other 30% are earth elements like carbon and other minerals, which are on the periodic table. So I find that the elements are really easy entry points, which allow us to encounter the spirit of nature directly. In Taoism and many other traditions, it is believed that everything has a soul. Everything has some consciousness, even seemingly inanimate forms like stone, ocean, sun, and trees. And this non-rational way of gathering wisdom is called animism. And in most ancient cultures, the realm of spirit was a given. It's only in modern life that we've degraded the transpersonal to the irrational. And, lots of people now worship scientific method and the physical world as the only reality, and believe that if it's not observable in a laboratory, it must not be real. If we can't make a lab rat do it over and over again, then there's something not valid about it. But connecting with spirit is an experience beyond the intellect. And when we can establish relationships with power and wisdom in the non-rational world, we get resources for deeper healing and transformation that are imperative for moving through the world in a healthy, balanced way. There's a beautiful Native American song and poem that says, "Earth my body, water my blood, wind my breath, and fire my spirit." The practice of connecting with the elements is easiest done outside. I've been seeing most of my clients on Zoom and by phone, and 3 times last week, I brought people outside to sit and connect with nature because they've been spending so much time in screens, so much time in media, overwhelmed with tapping into the current of fear and distress that totally takes them out of the present moment and totally takes them out of their body connection with present reality and the natural world, which is really the ground of being. So the work is to come out of our head and into our body felt experience. So the practice is to actually go outside. I'm so psyched. One of the things that I've gotten to do in the shelter at home time is redo my garden. It had really gone to shit, I gotta say. It was completely overgrown. It was weeds. I have this crazy neighbor. I haven't liked to go in my backyard because he's crazy and he stares out the window at me. But now things have grown up enough I can be out there. I'm so excited. One of my friends came over because I suck at social distancing. And I'm so grateful we got to pull a bunch of weeds. My garden looks great. And I've been sitting outside meditating as often as I can. Completely different experience from meditating in my room. Now, I will offer that all things have life force. All of life is alive, even man-made items. The chair I'm sitting on, the floor I'm standing on, the walls around me are all made of whirling atoms. So there is life force in all things, but it's much easier to access in nature. And connecting with elements is an incredibly powerful and nourishing practice. So you might consider within yourself right now, what are the elements that I enjoy? What feels comfortable? What gives me energy or peace? You know, I live near the ocean, and I know a lot of people that their spiritual practice is surfing. And a lot of surfing is actually just sitting in the ocean waiting for the wave. And the experience of being immersed in the immensity of the Pacific Ocean is incredibly rejuvenating, balancing, and settling for a lot of people if water is one of your primary elements. I'm a fire person. I always light a candle when I meditate. I'm an Aries. We've been going camping a lot and also lighting fires at the beach, and I love fire. I can stare at fire for hours. And the thing with fire, like with all the elements, you don't just observe it like you're watching a TV. If you're tending a fire, you have to tend it. It's a living thing. It will die if you don't care for it and move things around. And when you flip logs in different ways, they make the fire bigger, add things. It's an engaged process, just like being in the ocean. You have to move your own body so you don't sink and drown. There's a way to work with the element to allow it to support you. There's a way to work with fire to allow it to warm you or cook for you or provide light for you. I also really love trees and forest. You know, I was walking through a park. It's kind of funny because, you know, I say this all the time. I'm a fuck the rules person. So I walked my dogs at a park in Piedmont that was closed, and the police actually chased me out of there. It was kind of funny, but I can run really fast. Anyway, and they were on the other side of the street, so I got a kick out of it. I haven't been chased by the cops. I haven't been chased by the cops for oh my God, 40 years. Anyway, so it was kind of fun. In fact, as I was pulling out, I ran to my car. I got my dogs in really fast, and the police were going to drive up. I wasn't going to get a ticket probably or anything, but I didn't even want to talk to them. And I jumped in the car, and I sat in the car, and then I started driving, and they were coming up the street. I know they were looking for me, but because I'm such a mommy person, and they couldn't really see me from where they were because they talked to me on the speaker. They said, the park is closed. You need to leave. And and I drove right past them because I'm in my innocent mommy self, and they didn't know it was me. Anyway, I love stuff like that. So anyway, in this park, There's like this grassy knoll, and then there's this pathway, and it leads into the redwoods. And for me, I can viscerally feel redwood trees. They have so much power, groundedness. They practically speak or sing. When I'm in a grove of redwood trees, I get a physically felt experience of calming, feeling supported, feeling right-sized. I grew up with a lot of forests. I've always been a tree person. Redwood trees have a particular vibe. So if you're a tree person, you might want to consider, where have you felt connected in the forest? Is there particular kinds of trees that resonate with you? I had a client who loved the desert, and one of her primary elements was the creosote bush that permeated this place she loved to camp. She loved the smell of it and its resilience and ability to survive. She grew up in a really abusive family, and the essence of the creosote really spoke and sustained her own tenacity to survive and thrive coming out of a place with really harsh conditions. One of the clients I worked with outside recently was experimenting with her body felt experience of connecting with the earth and connecting with stone. She noticed that the more of her body that was actually touching or connecting with the element itself, the more connected, calm, and grounded she felt. So she moved from being in her house holding a stone to sitting outside, touching the earth, ultimately to laying on the ground completely with all of her body touching it. She's a really relational, kinesthetic, body-centered person, and actually engaging in a relational way, actually touching the earth, was completely different than just considering it or meditating on it. Sitting in the sunshine, really allowing your skin to feel the sunshine, absorbing into it. I actually like to sit in the moon and feel the moonlight on me. And I'm so lucky. I live in a place where I can see almost the complete moon path and watch it set in the ocean. I'm so grateful for that. So if you're a tree person, lean against a tree. If you're drawn to stone and metal, sit on a rock. Touch the water. Feel, if you're a water person, feel it in the shower. When you wash your hands, become conscious of that element. If you're interested in moving deeper in this practice, I'm going to put a link to the first inner journey from my book, Allies and Demons, in the show notes. And that will lead you to a sacred place in nature where you can experiment and explore what elements are primary for you. Everything has universal wisdom. Everything has something to teach us. And when we approach the natural world from this place of humility as a student, what does the ocean have to teach us? Or waterfall or river? What does the moon have to teach us about cycles, repetitions, death and rebirth? What does the sun have to teach us about generosity and about trust, that the sun is still there even if we can't see it behind the clouds? It's still there even when it sets, and it will come again. What does tree have to teach us about powerlessness and power? Wind is a primary element for me, always available to me at the beach here. Many different faces of wind. Can be gentle and cooling, incredibly powerful, and destructive. So I leave you to consider what elements speak to you naturally, and I encourage you to connect with them in the real world, in the physical world, particularly right now, where we may be disconnected from people that we love, or situations or patterns or routines that have sustained us. The elements are always available as a source and a resource for wisdom and guidance and healing if we learn how to listen to them and read their language. Blessings on your path. Until we meet again, this is Renee Lavallee Mckenna for Spiritual Psychology.